businesses. It's a tough professional journey that you go on. Regardless, I enjoyed it to the max. But later on in life, I had, I suppose you could say sadly, but for me, not so much. But I did have 2 open heart surgeries in the course of my life. They were very keen for me to make sure that my life was completely and utterly organized. Which means in the event of my death, things were in place because there was a very high probability they'd lose me on the table.
Morning, everybody. Monday Talks, Daniel Talker again, and we have a gorgeous smile behind the mic. And on my screen today, Michelle France. She's a teacher of 34 years, and she's now making home cooking easy through personalized online group and individual coaching. Let's start by saying, hi, Michelle, how are you?
Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, listeners. It's lovely to be with you today.
Amazing, amazing. Let's talk about first, who's Michelle? Let's introduce Michelle to my audience.
Oh, well, as you said, I guess professionally, the Michelle is a teacher who's retired, but who actually spent 34 wonderful years working in education in Australia and in Dubai. And by the end of my career, I was principal of a prestigious primary school here in Dubai. So from a professional point of view, Michelle is reasonably accomplished, I would say. The other Michelle is married, lives in Dubai with her husband, Phil, and enjoys all of the wonderful things that Dubai has to offer. I'm Australian by nationality and South African by birth. So that gives you a bit of an idea that I've been a bit of a gypsy, Daniel. I've been around, traveled around, lived in a few countries, and now a resident of Dubai. Yep.
Beautiful. And don't ever mention retired. It doesn't suit you at all.
From education, I have to say.
No.
Not retired.
Okay. Tell us about this journey from being a professional teacher to become the founder of Homecook Me.
Okay. So I'd been working in Dubai for nearly 24 years in education. And Dubai, the system here is pretty brutal, for professionals. When I say that, I mean it is really hard going. It's all seen as businesses. It's a tough professional journey that you go on. Regardless, I enjoyed it to the maximum. And then there was a decision to close the school I was working in because it was privately owned by the ruling family. And then, there was going to be a 2-year break, and I made the decision along with Phil that said, well, I could look for another job in education, or I could actually try something a little bit different. And I guess that's where my teaching skill combined with my passion for good food, and Homecook Me was born. But I have to say, Daniel, it is an incredible journey to make that leap from being working in the corporate world to being on your lonesome and taking on the challenges that a business owner has. But I was very, very fortunate. I had somebody literally holding my hand throughout that whole process. I was very fortunate to have Phil by my side, who was not only a very supportive husband, but also an extremely supportive professional coach. So I did his Ascentive Pro program for me personally as a small business owner, and my eyes were opened, and they remain open to this day. I'm going through the program a second time. So lots and lots and lots to learn. The learning curve was about as steep as you can get it.
Well, Phil cannot be but anywhere. He's supporting everybody I know.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned something, and greetings to Phil Bedford. Well, you mentioned something about your passion when you said because of my passion. What is that passion? Is it about food? Is it about education? Is it about what exactly? You cooking?
It, well, I guess Homecook Me is a combination of the two. But going back, I come from African roots, right? And in our family, food always played an incredibly important part in our family life. And Daniel, I mean that even to this day, my family would be having breakfast at the breakfast table, and we would be discussing dinner and what was happening, and everything. The plan for the day was centered around the meals and collecting who was coming for dinner, who was going to be there, etc. So I guess my passion for good food that
Mm,
comes from my family. But later on in life, I had, I suppose you could say sadly, but for me, not so much. But I did have two open heart surgeries in the course of my life.
mm.
And so
I
my
was going
passion
for
for
that.
food, yeah, my passion for food kind of took a bit of a detour. And not only was it all about food, but it was also about healthy food. And it plays such an important part in your general well-being. So
Mhm.
I guess then the passion for food has always been there, even throughout my professional career. I would teach by day, children, or work with manage a school by day. But also our home here in Dubai is pretty popular spot for coming over for dinner and celebrating and commiserating around our kitchen table and sharing. So I've always enjoyed cooking for many, many years, and hosting dinner parties has been a something we've always done, Phil and I, in our married life.
Mm.
And
That's
that's been a really important something that we do with our family and friends. Yeah.
amazing. I've been there, so I know what you're talking about.
Mm.
I had the privilege to visit you at home, and it was I will do it again. Okay, let's go back to Michelle, the person. Can we dive deep? Can we dive deeper on your personal side? You mentioned two
Absolutely.
open heart surgeries. I bet those were the most challenging crossroads in your life, were they?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, when you're confronted by something like that, now I have to be honest, my first open heart surgery was when I was 28 years old. And Daniel, that was not unexpected. It happened quickly, but it was not unexpected. I contracted a viral illness when I was a toddler in South Africa, and it was treated as just the general flu, which was fine. I didn't really have any major repercussions from that. But as I got older, through different X-rays and investigations, they realized that the damage to my heart valves had indicated that I had had rheumatic fever as a toddler, and therefore they knew that at some stage, given any other infections I might have, that could weaken the heart valves further. So at 28, I had been teaching for a few years, and I'm not sure if your listeners would be able to resonate with this, but when you start working with young children, we love them, Daniel, but boy, do they share their lovely little presence with you, as in
Mm,
lots and lots of bugs, because they're building up their immunity, right? So when I
mm,
started teaching, at the end of my first year of teaching, I got so sick, but not like any other, just like any other teacher. You pick up these bugs, you build your own immunity as a person who
mm,
works with young children. And so, but I did, and of course, with me, it affected my valves a little bit more seriously than normal. So by
mm,
the time I was 28, I lasted quite well. By the time I was 28, I had my first surgery, and that
mm,
was fine. It was, pretty traumatic, but I was young and I was able to recover quite well. But after 10 years, almost to the day, the donor valve I'd been given on my aorta stenoded. That means it just stopped working. And they decided then that my two tissue valves, a donor valve and a pig valve, had to be replaced with far more robust machinery, if you like. And so when I was 38, they replaced both of those valves with mechanical valves. And so I have two mechanical valves now. And I guess the reason was they didn't want to use any more of the tissue valves because they could over time stop working again. And undergoing open heart surgery is extremely dangerous. I couldn't find a surgeon who would do it the second time. I mean, it was a pretty tough time. But we did. We found a surgeon who was happy to do it. And but it was a pretty traumatic time. Yeah, Daniel, it really was, because the second time going through open heart surgery, the doctors were very keen that I took it very seriously, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there I was thinking, oh, I've been through this. I've done it once. I can do it again. Not so much.
But
So they really were, yeah, no, I mean, they were very keen for me to make sure that my life was completely and utterly organized. Which means in the event of my death, things were in place, because there was
wow,
a very high probability they'd lose me on the table. Yeah. And that was made very clear to me.
wow,
Mm.
you have to
Mm.
arrange
Mm. So
everything just like you're leaving.
everything, absolutely everything. And my life was here in Dubai at the time. So I had to come from Australia, come and pack up, leave instructions with my folks at work, my boss, with my Phil and I weren't together at the time. With my friends, you know, this is what needed to happen. With my family in Australia, this is what would need to happen. Sign shipping papers, sign all
Wow.
sorts of things, and yeah, and then return to Australia for the actual event, the actual surgery. And
Okay,
they were right. The
you,
second time was a whole lot tougher.
yeah, I know. I can guess
Mm.
even the feeling recovery is more challenging even than the physical recovery. Okay, you
Yeah,
were betting that, yeah, that was a big challenge, I guess.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you adjust your thinking
You're just
on
about to leave,
absolutely
you know,
everything.
you're just prepared to leave, and then you come back to life, and then it's like getting a new life, right?
Yeah, and you know what? It's really interesting you say that, because even though I was told I needed to prepare for the worst outcome, I don't think I actually ever believed it. You know, yes, there was a chance, but I never internalized or focused on that part. Now, maybe I was a bit younger and a bit more, you know, a bit more silly, I guess, but I never did. And I guess I had everything planned as they said or they asked me to, but I never really, in my mind or in my heart, I never really thought that that would actually happen. I always expected to be back. And you're
Full
right.
of hope. Yeah, that's what we do. Like, if we lose hope,
Yeah,
we lose everything.
exactly.
Okay,
No, a thousand.
going
Mm.
going back to food. Food is your passion. It's part of culture, right? And you are in Dubai,
Yeah.
the diverse of culture. So how do you deal with that? How do the culture affects your food? What kind of food you're dealing with?
Okay, so on two levels, how does it, fit with me? Number one,
It's a
I love
big
going
jump
out to
from
try all
personal
of those.
being dramatic into food.
Yeah, well, it is dramatic, but it is very true in our life. Food is very important. But I was going to say to you, Dubai is an incredible center for food. I think location, it helps. So on two levels, I enjoy food. One is actually going out and trying all these different places, all these talented big chefs and little chefs who've opened up establishments all around Dubai. So I love trying new places. And there's a lot of young and up-and-coming chefs in Dubai now, Daniel, who are doing some fantastically exciting things. On my level, I love having access to the full range of ingredients that you can get in Dubai. I mean, if you want a Japanese supermarket, you can find one. If you want to go and, explore, obviously Indian spices, the world is your oyster. I mean, it is the range of European products that we're getting. And excitingly, a range of local products that we're getting too now, which is something, in the last 25 years, I've seen a very big shift with the UAE producing, not a lot, but certainly they're starting now on their journey of producing food that we eat. So I love experimenting with different ingredients, but I like mixing it up a bit.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to ask. It's like you
Yeah.
are mixing Indian spices with Mexican food and Arabian bread. Do you do that?
Well, yeah, and it's really interesting how much the world cuisines have in common. When you go, you're talking about basic spices. You've got salt, you've got pepper, you've got garlic, you've got onion. There's so many of these that are just basic in every cuisine. And then, like you say, according to your own taste, you play with different flavors and different spices, and you kind of create something that you and your family particularly enjoy. But that's an exciting process too. And
And I
Dubai
have to
gives you
say,
all.
I have to also give you the credit of moving that home cooking into a digital experience. This is something new.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can cook with you online while sharing this with my family, right? How does that work?
absolutely. So well, it's interesting because I never, when you're a small business owner, you kind of think you have a model in your head, and then you kind of put it out there. And then folks start to ask you all sorts of questions, and you go, "Oh, I never thought about that." And that's basically how this online experience came. As a result of COVID, Daniel, we are all much more willing to hop online, to be online with folks. It's second nature now, isn't it? I mean, if you said this 5 years ago, let's cook together over Zoom, I think you would have had people run, 100 miles in the opposite direction. But what happened was, it was actually just the Christmas before everybody was traveling, so Christmas 2021. And what happened was, obviously, there were lots of us who couldn't go back to our home countries. We were choosing to stay put, until the whole pandemic situation had calmed down. And I just I came up with I actually did it with my family. I did it with a couple of my family members in Australia. So I attached some lights to my stove, on my overhead lighting, and I sent out recipes to 4 of my friends and family members, and said, right, we're going to meet online, gave them a time, gave them all the ingredients, gave them what they needed to do beforehand, and said, right, we're going to cook online and just enjoy each other's company for an hour and a half. And away
And
we
let's
went. And
and let's cook overseas. Amazing.
yes, it was amazing. It was absolutely, and as a result of that, I've even had friends who've connected. So there was a birthday I did for a young lady. She was based in Portugal, but she had a sister in the US. She had another sister in South Africa. She was in Portugal, and they had a friend of theirs in the UK, and we all connected
Wow.
online with the same recipe, with all of our ingredients, and we just had a lovely little birthday celebration because they couldn't be together.
How do you envision Homecook Me evolving? Where do you think, where do you see it going?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. And you know what, Daniel? If you'd asked me this question, or if I'd started Homecook Me 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, I'd give you a different answer. But right now, where I am, the age and the stage that I am, I envisage Homecook Me as maintaining that online presence and that ability to get to connect people through food online. So I certainly see that element being there. But and inspiring folks to enjoy the cooking experience and online. But the second one, which is one that's very close to my heart, is actually more, and this is where the teacher in me comes out, is actually working with individuals who are really interested in making a change to the way that they use their kitchens. So I work a lot with private clients who either are busy executives like I used to be, and so I am aware of all of the shortcuts that I can show them, which stops them from necessarily reaching out for the takeout menu every night. We can all do takeout every now and then. That's no problem. The danger with that is that we don't know what's in there. And so based on your Homecook Me going, I would like to be able to work with clients who are very, very keen to make sure that they get what they're supposed to get through cooking at home and feeding their bodies what's healthy. So that's where I see it.
We have still a small fun part. Here comes out. Like 3 questions.
Okay.
Okay. And just like to leave with a smile. Leave with a smile.
Okay.
If Homecook Me, because you have a lot of passion back there, if Homecook Me was a fictional character, how do you imagine? Who is that character? That's a challenging one.
Ooh. Yeah, a fictional character. I'd go for Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Oh boy, you are. Of course. Okay, second one. Second one is like, you know what? I look at you like that. Yeah. You're just like, with your smile, you're so gorgeous. And you don't know any boundaries, any obstacle.
Certainly the one.
Why not? You can do everything, anything.
No, but the Wonder Woman one came from the idea that I would be able to inspire folks to become superheroes in their kitchen. That's what I would love to do. Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's why I picked Wonder Woman.
And okay, move to the second one. Can you name one habit you look to gain or get rid of in 2023?
Okay. This is getting a little bit personal, but I'm going to share. At the moment, I see I'm very, very good at keeping healthy and well, but I don't quite like the gym. So one habit is I need to reboot my thinking about working out in the gym. And I need to actually put that and put some emphasis on enjoying my time. So one, I want to get rid of thinking of the gym more negatively. I want to think of it more positively. Yeah.
Okay. I love it when you just like
I need it.
putting yourself in the right mindset before you start action.
Honestly, Daniel, yes. And I know I need to get in there and do some weight training and all the rest of it, which I do enjoy, but it's, yeah, I need to become more positive about it.
Okay, here's a question. Though I was not preparing this one, but I love to have this with you. It's like I have to have this question with you. It is a rainy day, and you're driving in your car, and you only have one seat available plus the driver. Cool?
Who am I going to put in that seat? Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. And you pass this spot, let's say, or bus stop or bus station, and you find 3 people there. The love of your life, or the most gorgeous dream of your life, an old lady that is like in an urgent situation and she needs to go to the hospital just right now, or a friend that is you cannot say no to. He's like filling your goodwill with up to the maximum. And you owe him a lot, a lot. So who's you're gonna what you're gonna do? Not what who's gonna fill the seat, but no. The question is, what are you going to do?
Well, I think I would pull up like the person that I am, and I would actually chat to them. I think the love of my life would be able to understand why I couldn't take them wherever they needed to go, because obviously if they're at the bus stop, they wanting to go somewhere, aren't they? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the love of my life would be able to understand if they're healthy and well, that they are, I would probably call them an Uber. No problem at all. Love of my life, sorted. The other good friend whom I owe lots to, I would actually, yeah, I think I would do something similar. I would probably, they would know me, and they would know that if there's an old lady there who is in need, I think my friend, they wouldn't be my friend if they didn't understand that if they were not in need and somebody else was a priority just for that few hours, I think they would understand why I would do that entirely. So I would have no doubt that I could, what's the word, settle and have a good chat to those other two people, but I would make a beeline for that older woman or the older person who is in need of attention and require, you know, with my history, hospitals, doctors, if you are in need, you need to get that, you know, that care immediately, because it could save your life. So I would have no doubt that the other two would totally understand why. I would give them both a very quick kiss, big hug, and say, you're good to go. She's not. I'm dealing with her.
Amazing. Amazing, Michelle. Thank you very much for being my guest on Monday Talks. And everyone else, thank you very much for attending this session, and stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Lovely. Thank you, Daniel. Goodbye, everybody. Lovely to be here.
Bye.